The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Great Garment Graphics webinar. Today we have a webinar on Ask the Experts where we have sponsored by Stahls ID, Stahls Transfer Express, Imprintables Warehouse, and Stahls Cadcut Direct. We have a great variety of experts with us today to answer your questions. So if you have questions on product lines that are sold by these companies, feel free to type them in right now so we can start answering them. We're going to have 4 general topics that we'd like to talk about today. Curious which heat transfer materials work with which type of fabrics, wondering how digital transfers fit into your business, if you're interested in what's new in the heat printing industry, and if you need to know standard sizes for sports uniforms, numbers and letters for that. I'd like to introduce our experts today. We have Josh Ellsworth from Stahls Cadcut Direct. Hi, Josh. We have Adam Yukish from Imprintables Warehouse. We have Andy Curtis from Transfer Express, and we also have Georgiana Schilling from Transfer Express with us today. And of course, my name is Juliet Calmetta from Stahls ID Direct. So we'll start with going back to the common questions we have right now. We'll just start off with curious which kind of heat transfer materials work with which type of fabrics. And then as you're typing in your questions, we'll start reading those off and answering those and targeting these 4 questions in the meantime.
All right, Juliet, thanks for the introduction. I tried to say hello, but I had my headset on mute, so that's why I didn't respond to you there. But excited to be on. This is Josh, by the way, and I know that we talked about some of these questions before the webinar, and I'll kind of be reading your questions, so out to the group and directing those, or you guys can jump in and answer. But please type in questions. We only got a few so far, so get to work, type them in, and we'll make sure we get them to the front of the list. But I'm curious which heat transfer materials work with which fabrics. For that question, we'll welcome Adam Yukish and from Imprintables Warehouse.
Thanks, Josh, and thanks for everybody for coming out to the webinar. I hope that we do get a lot of questions. This is a really good opportunity for everybody to get the experts from the 4 different companies that we have here to really cover a lot of different topics. As far as the best transfer materials with the different types of fabrics, it's really important to be familiar with both the fabric, as familiar with the fabric that you're working with as you are with the transfer that you're putting onto it. For instance, polyesters and nylons can sometimes look very similar, but the transfers that go onto them are going to perform completely differently. Most of the time. Most of the transfers for nylon may work on polyester, but that doesn't necessarily go the other way. Transfer that will work on polyester doesn't always work for a nylon garment. So you really have to be very familiar with both the fabric that you're working with and, of course, with the transfer that you'd be working with as well.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for that, Adam. Anything else to add before we move on to the next question from our other experts? Okay. We'll move along. The next question is wondering how digital transfers fit into your business. And for that, we're going to turn over to Transfer Express and Andy. If you can take that question, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, Josh, and thank you, everyone, for being here today. As far as how digital transfers fit into your business, it's actually a good question because depending on how your business is set up, digital transfers can fit into it in a whole bunch of different ways. I think one of the most common ways we see digital transfers used here at Transfer Express are for pieces of artwork that are maybe too difficult to print as screen print or flat out unable to print as screen print. Also, it's good for small runs. It's more practical to do small runs of digital transfers as opposed to trying to do a small run of screen print transfers. So depending on how your business is set up, digital transfers can fit into it a whole bunch of different ways.
Excellent. Thank you. And yeah, for those of you that don't know, digital transfers are readily available as CAD prints through Stahls ID Direct and Transfer Express, and we've seen all kind of different artwork come through in different types of orders, but kind of the common theme is multiple colors all in a single layer, and it really gives you flexibility for runs from a single piece all the way up through thousands of pieces depending on the fabric you want to adhere to. So digital transfers obviously is something that's growing and new, but there's some other new things in the heat printing industry. And so we'll welcome back Juliet to start with this question, and we'll kind of go around the horn with all the experts. But what do you see new out there in the heat printing industry that you can share with our listeners, Juliet?
Well, primarily the digital transfers are kind of newer to the industry in regards to, but they've been out there for a while. So we have a lot of customers that are used to them, that use them. They can be heat applied anywhere from cotton all the way to leather, spandex, neoprene, that kind of thing. So that's a really versatile heat transfer to use. But then there's also the glitter flakes out there, the ones that are more towards the fashionable industry, where we have the holograms and the prisms, and then we also have the new Premium Plus product that is real versatile to what it heat applies to, as well as it's great stretch and rebound. It's really easy to weed. It has a nice matte finish and a light hand. So there's a lot of new materials, Cadcut materials that are being sold. And we also have some new distressed applique through Stahls ID Direct, which gives that nice vintage look, that stuff that you see out in Abercrombie and that kind of fashion wear, really popular with high school and college teams and all of that. So it's a really neat product where you can, it looks kind of ripped and worn, and you can use it with an embroidery machine to sew it down. So that's what's new with Stahls ID primarily.
Great. Well, thank you. And I saw, just for our listeners, I saw the distressed applique for the first time, because that's not really my area, but I saw a shirt printed with it in our customer service department, and the stuff just looks fantastic. So especially as we're approaching through summer and up into fall, I think it'd be a really good product to take a hard look at that can generate some revenue for your business. Georgianne and Andy, I'm not sure if both of you want to touch on this question on behalf of Transfer Express, but either of you or both of you can feel free to jump in next.
Okay, I'll jump in next. I'm Georgianne. I'm a graphic designer here at Transfer Express. One of the new exciting things here at Transfer Express is a new product called Transfer Extreme. And what that is a screen-printed, stock screen-printed transfer right now. Eventually it's going to grow into larger, bigger things. But right now these are full-color screen-printed transfers with a patriotic theme. And we're offering 10 different designs and multi-packs also that have soft tan and vibrant colors and apply in the 4-second application quick, just like our roof proof. And it's real exciting. They're selling really, really well. And with 4th of July coming up, they're really, really hot right now. And just the look of them is totally different than anything we've ever produced here at Transfer Express. And I've been here 17 years, and it's real exciting to see how these transfers have come out, and exciting to see how the customers are going to grow to like them. Andy, you got something else for us?
Yeah, I can actually throw in there too. It's still related to the heat printing industry, but a little bit different than what we're used to at Transfer Express would be our non-apparel products. It's kind of funny because we were so used to the concept of heat printing on T-shirts and what have you that breaking into things like banners and stickers and window decals and static clings was very, very new to us. And we've seen a lot of these products become pretty popular in the past couple months here since we've had them out. So the idea, of course, being that you can take the artwork that you're using with us here at Transfer Express already, whether it be artwork out of our idea book or artwork that you've done with us previously, and you can use that same artwork to make banners for your local high school team, for stickers for their helmets, or window clings for the parents, or even wall graphics for their locker rooms and such. So the non-apparel products have really been a really exciting new part of our lineup here at Transfer Express.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for that feedback. And then before I move on to Adam, a question came rolling in, and I think maybe a good fit to what Georgianne was touching on, and it was, can you make transfers with halftones? I have a design that incorporates halftones and solids in the same design. Both are the same color. Is that what Transfer Extreme is?
Transfer Extreme is actually even farther extreme than that. We do currently do those type of halftones in-house, but we recommend what we call back, to have another color behind it, because that's been our issue over the years, is transfers and dots don't mix together sometimes. We're slowly mastering that to make it be a great combination. But we do, the way we do them right now, it's better to get a 2-color design where you get your first color of your halftones and then back it in white to guarantee that that's a great looking transfer for right now. But hopefully someday we'll be able to do that as a 1 color as well.
Okay, excellent. And okay, great. So, and Andy touched on some of the non-apparel media and maximizing your business, and I'm not sure what you have planned for your response, Adam, or what you're thinking, but I know that non-apparel stuff kind of ties right in to some of the things Imprintables offers, right, for a do-it-yourself approach?
Absolutely. Yeah, Imprintables Warehouse, we've been in the Cadcut vinyl and the printable vinyl realm for a while now, but recently we really opened up the sign division to all of our customers and also to some other customers that are out there that we haven't been able to reach as of yet. But Andy mentioned the banners and the decals and everything else. Where Imprintables differs from Stalls and Transfer Express is that we actually supply the equipment to create your own transfers. So we've had a lot of customers been very, very successful and very, very profitable by expanding their existing garment decoration business, then just adding something as simple as a banner or a few different decals. What makes the banner printing and the sign division a little bit different than the apparel is it's actually cheaper. The vinyls and everything are quite a bit less expensive than apparel vinyls and the glitters and all of that. So there's a lot of room for profit there. It's a little bit different. Some people are maybe a little bit reluctant to expand into that sort of thing, but the good news is that it's always there for you. Imprintables Warehouse, we hate to use the term one-source supplier, but we are kind of in that realm. We have the heat applied vinyls, of course. We also have the sign vinyl, so we can really cover both for you just by purchasing from one company. But also to expand a little bit on what Juliet was talking about a little bit ago, the materials that are coming out in the market now are much more versatile than they have been in the past. Before you had to get one material, and I kind of mentioned this with the material for polyester and nylon, but we're not quite there yet where you have one universal material for every type of fabric out there, but we are getting materials now that will work onto standard cotton fabrics as well as stretchable fabrics and a lot of different things. Before, to get a material for a stretchable fabric, it was maybe not, would not have worked quite as well on a cotton. So that's something that's a little bit new in the industry. But also, we've had a lot of talk already about digital. It's really an emerging market. There's a lot of different types of technology out there, but whether it be with the digital transfers that are available from Transfer Express or Stalls ID, or if you do choose to purchase your own printer and create the digital transfers yourself, it's really an emerging market that a lot of people are starting to transition to because they want to get away from the one color, two color, even maybe three color designs and get more into the photorealistic or the multiple colors without having to layer one on top of the other.
Interesting. Well, thank you. So we didn't plan this, but Adam, you tied right into some of the things that I had for what's new, and it really comes down to the cotton crisis, and we're really seeing in the decorated apparel marketplace just in general, we're seeing the price of cotton and the price of the T-shirts that you source, they're going up. You're getting price increases, it was month after month for a certain period of time there, and that's probably going to be ongoing. So we're really starting to see an influx of polyester come into the U.S. market particularly. If you read any of the reports, the growth in synthetic fabrics, which are polyester and nylons, has been climbing for some time. And with the recent cotton crisis, that's fueling that growth even further. So now you're seeing these synthetic fabrics or blends that contain more polyester than cotton being used not only for performance wear and athletic constructions, but you're seeing them start to be incorporated into daily wear as an alternative for a T-shirt. So it's going to become critical in your shop, whether it's a product from our group of companies or not, to figure out a way to adequately accommodate these polyester fabrics with your print techniques. And of course, we've seen this coming for a little while, so you'll see materials come out from us like the Cadcut Premium Plus or like some stuff that Transfer Express has or Imprintables has that are perfectly suited for these performance fabrics due to the way they feel, the way they stretch, the way they rebound after stretching. So it's going to become important to accommodate those. One more just small point is we're seeing some interesting growth across neon colors in our Cadcut line of materials. So I think that this is driven by largely by retail trends and what you see in a lot of the retail stores, but neons have been a hot color this year. And I think, as we're settling into summer, it may make sense to get some neon shades on your shelf and show those because they seem to be becoming popular. We're going to go to the next question here momentarily, but now we got you guys. Everybody's awake. The questions are rolling in, so I want to grab some listener questions here. And then also ask a question. Juliet, would you happen, because I know you have control of the presentation, would you happen to have a photo or be able to pull up a photo of Transfer Express's Transfer Extreme that we could show in a little while?
Yes, I would be able to. You probably would be able to see me searching for it, though.
Well, you can.
I'll go online and do it.
Sure. Just go to our main homepage and click on the main banner.
Yeah.
I'll go right to the page and show you this stuff.
Okay, that was a listener question. We'll keep going while Juliet's searching for that, but we appreciate you requesting that. One of the first questions that came in here that's important is, other than exact print transfer paper, which is a new transfer paper available from Stahls and Imprintables Warehouse, are there any other transfer papers used with a laser printer, particularly the Oki C610? Adam, would you be able to shed any light on that?
Yeah, I would. I'm not as familiar with that particular laser printer, but the Technoprint paper that's available from Imprintables Warehouse should be able to go through it just fine, as well as if you're looking at a paper for a dark garment, our laser for darks, pretty obviously named, is also a great option for that as well. The laser for darks, what makes that one really unique is it has a very low application temperature, so that really makes it ideal for any number of applications, but the really exciting thing about it is it puts it down in the polypropylene bag territory. I'm sure anybody that's worked with those are well aware that they do not react well with the temperature much over, depends on the bag, but I haven't really seen anything that works well over 280 degrees at most. And the laser for darks goes on at a temperature much less than that. So we're really excited about that paper, but I'd say to answer the question, the Technoprint and the laser for darks would be two options from Imprintables Warehouse.
Okay, excellent. Great, thanks for that question, Sherry. And another question coming in from Jim, and I'll take this one, guys, is there a good alternative to embroidery? And we actually did a whole webinar on this. Courtney Matlick from the Cadcut Direct team did a webinar on basically expanding from embroidery or expanding from monogramming with putting initials onto garments, traditionally with embroidery. And the answer is yes. A lot of embroiderers that we sell vinyl cutters to that start offering Cadcut heat-applied films find this to be a great alternative or different price point than embroidery, something that's comparable to screen printing, but for the type of quantities you would traditionally embroider. Also, if you're looking to kind of mimic embroidery or present something that's a little higher perceived value like embroidery on a polo shirt, you can look at different Cadcut materials that maybe are a flock material where they have a fuzzy texture, or you can look at materials that puff up when you heat press them, or possibly even a puff transfer. So anything that you can incorporate like a raised dimension, like a flock or a puff similar to embroidery, it's a great alternative, and it's a price point where you don't have to digitize the whole logo, and you don't have all that set up with stitching. Okay, so you can see in the background here, thanks Juliet, she pulled up some of the Transfer Extreme stock transfers, so you can see some of what's available.
It's worth noting, Josh, just to jump in for a second, that the one Juliet's showing right there on the screen, USA-1, is actually one of the more popular sellers thus far, just for notating sake.
Yeah, these are all adult size and work on both light and dark garments. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, we sell them as multi-pack. So if you don't want to pick a specific design, you can get a multi-pack that will have 2 of each transfer in the pack of 10.
Okay,
and Stahls ID also offers these items too, these multi-design packages where you can get the 5 different designs, 2 each for $20.
Okay, good. Yeah, so just a good thing, a profit opportunity to have in your shop. Maybe for walk-in sales or add-on sales as you're delivering orders, especially this time of year with approaching the 4th and the 10-year anniversary of 9/11 coming up. It seems very timely. Okay, so Juliet, I'll direct this one to you. We have a listener that's a little bit confused. What exactly are digital transfers? Can you explain those?
Yes, digital transfer is where we would take a machine that's like a printer and a cutter in one, and it actually prints like a solvent ink onto the printable media, and then we cut around it. So you can print like photographs with lots of different colors, and it's one transfer, lots of gradient. You get more of a crisp, clean transfer, or logo, I should say, versus like screen printing with several screens, and very costly. So you could do low minimums, and you can do many, and for very low cost. They're very inexpensive. and they're easy to order too. I can show you through Stahl's website that ordering is very simple. You can upload your artwork. Simply just by going to Full Color Digital Services, and then all the CAD print services that Stahl's ID offers is anywhere from transfers for garments to bumper stickers, wall graphics, helmet decals, window stickers. So there's a wide variety of different product lines that you can order for digital. So it's something that's really exciting. I personally work a lot with customers in the custom department, and it's really kicking off. We see a lot of cool designs with it.
Good. Well, thank you. And then there was a good follow-up question that just came rolling in about possibly producing your own digital transfers, and it's about a particular printer cutter that's being released on the market. And Guy asks, will the Versa Studio BN20 be available from Imprintables Warehouse? So we'll ask Adam from Imprintables to address not only that question, but what you're able to accomplish with this machine or this type of technology.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I did mean to bring that up with the new technology. So excellent question. You should actually see that printer cutter on our website tomorrow. We added it today, so that should show up on there tomorrow. Currently, the status of the machine is in a pre-order status. I can tell you that they are selling extremely well, better than even we thought, and definitely Roland. The status of the machine, we're looking to get them sometime in late July, mid to late July, so about a month from now. I would not be at all surprised to see that shipment sell out. If it's not sold out already, it will be sold out very soon. The next delivery isn't expected until sometime in August. So at the rate these things are selling right now, not just on the pre-shipment, but on the second shipment as well, I really think that if you're interested in a machine like this, and I'll explain what it is to everybody, but if you're interested in a machine like this, it's definitely the time is now to make a decision on it and get your pre-order in. But the BN20, for those who may not be aware, is the smaller version of a solvent print cut machine. Juliet touched on it with the way that digital transfers are created. To date, the cheapest option has been a Roland Versacam, an SP300, which will run you over $13,000. The BN20 coming out, it's at a much more affordable price at $84.95. You see the options that are on our site currently. The VS300 up on the upper left-hand corner is our best seller. That one prints the metallic inks and everything. The benefit to the BN20 is it's very similar to the VS, just a little bit slower because it's a little bit smaller. The VS300 is a 30-inch printer. The BN20 will be a 20-inch printer. So it's really ideal. Actually, it is on the site already. It's in the lower left-hand corner there if everybody can. Juliet, if you're able to click on that. I haven't seen this yet, so this will be a little bit of a surprise. Hopefully the information's good. No, go figure. Yeah, check back tomorrow.
Able to
really
go
be on
back.
the site. But yeah, so the BN20, it's a 20-inch printer cutter. It does have the ability to print white and metallic. Just so everybody is aware, it does not print white. It only prints metallic. But it doesn't print metallic for apparel decoration. The metallic inks, they aren't as durable as standard solvent inks are. So for the decals and that sort of thing is where you'll use the metallic. If you'd be interested in metallic on apparel, then you would just simply purchase a roll of our Solutions metallic material, and you'd be able to achieve the same effect, if not a little bit better, to be honest with you.
Okay,
Josh,
great.
I think there was another follow-up question on that. Is that correct? Did I miss anything?
No, I think you hit it. It was really about what the machine does, and I think the value for the apparel decorator kind of plays into the same thing that Juliet touched on earlier, or maybe either Andy or George Ann did, but it's the same concept, what you can achieve with a digital transfer. You have the choice. You can order it out, let us do the hard work for you, or you can do it yourself by purchasing the unit through Imprintables Warehouse. So it depends on which one fits your business.
Yeah, the fact that this one's coming in at under $9,000, it really makes it that much more affordable for everybody to really to get into it. But like you said, if they wanted to continue to purchase digital transfers, then you're going to be getting virtually the same results that way.
Great. And speaking of purchases and equipment, we have Jean, who just purchased a Roland GX24 cutter, and she's learning how to use it. We have videos for that, Jean, if you haven't seen the training videos on our website already. But where can I go to find out about all the different options that are open for me? I keep hearing about all this stuff, but I don't know where to begin. Juliet, can you navigate over to our Cadcut Direct page and show the video section?
Sure.
And there's a video section as well on Imprintables Warehouse or Cadcut Direct. So we carry two different product lines and materials that you can utilize with your cutter. So I would recommend going to our video section, and that's one of the best places where you can actually connect how to utilize this material, how exactly to cut it on your cutter, and what a finished result looks like. But there you see a whole list of videos, and you can click through and see a whole library of, I think we published over 100 videos in the last year. So grab your popcorn and enjoy. You'll learn how to make a lot of money with new materials. Let's see, I'm going to grab another question that came in way early. Sorry I haven't got to you yet, Tim. But question is, because the new Cadcut Premium Plus applies at a lower temperature, can you combine it with other materials that apply at higher temperatures? And the answer to that is yes. We're in the process of finalizing a flexible temperature range for this material that will recommend you applying it anywhere from 300 to 350 degrees. The reason is, for those of you that use thermofilm that also want to use this in your shop, or that use screen-printed transfers that apply at a higher temperature, you won't have to take your heat press back and forth. You can just press the Premium Plus between 300 and 350, somewhere between 8 and 12 seconds, and we've conducted wash tests, and it works and it's durable, but we'll be coming out with a lab certification on that. So no, the higher temperature won't hurt the Premium Plus material. Let's see. We would like to purchase, Boomy asked, hopefully I pronounced that right, we would like to purchase a GX24 and heat press in the near future. Please, would you enlighten us on what offerings and support is available to your customers, not on the continental U.S., in the U.K., for instance? And Target Transfers is a division of Stahls located in the U.K. The website escapes me, but I believe it's targettransfer.com or targettransfers.com. And they sell the Roland GX24. Actually, they sell a GCC line of cutters that's very nice as well, and several other units, a large variety of cutters that you can look at, and they carry all the Stahls heat presses and materials, and they would be a great partner to supply you and support you locally there in the UK. Let me find a question for somebody else here. Scrolling back through, give me a second. Okay. Is there a solvent?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was going to start talking.
That's all right.
Did you hear that?
Only a little bit. It didn't really, wasn't
okay.
a big deal.
It was pretty loud to me, sorry.
That's all right. Shayna asks,
It scared me for a
is there a solvent that you can use to take off incorrect numbers that are heat pressed on? Juliet, can you take that question?
Is there a solvent number that you can heat press onto?
No. Is there a solvent that can? Is there a liquid or a material you can use to remove incorrect numbers that are heat pressed on?
Yes, you can. You can use the methylene chloride solvent. It works best within 24 hours, but it only works on certain types of materials. One of them is Cadcut thermofilm, for example, and you can purchase it through Stahls ID Direct. It's under our accessories, for example, and it ships ground because it is considered hazardous. But yes, you can purchase. It's called methylene chloride solvent.
Okay, excellent. Thanks. And I have used that before, and it works pretty well. It even works on the vast majority of the material. Sometimes it just leaves more of an adhesive residue behind. Okay, so some of the other questions rolling in here. Sorry, excuse me. I'm just trying to scroll back. Keep them coming in, guys, because we're starting to run short on questions. One of the questions is, have you tested the Premium Plus material on athletic apparel? And yes, we have. It's recommended for cotton, polyester, lycra, and spandex currently, and we are just over midway with certifying it for nylon fabric, so expect a announcement sometime around mid-July on whether or not we'll recommend it for knit nylons. And let's see. Okay, here's a good question. And I bet any expert can take this. I'll defer over to Transfer Express to Andy or Georgianne. What should I look for in a heat press?
I can take that one, Georgianne, if you're okay with that.
Yep, that's fine.
As far as what to look for in a heat press, there's a couple different things, and I hate to answer a question with a question, but the first thing you need to establish is how much money you have to spend on that heat press. It's safe to say that regardless, the Hotronix line of presses, you're going to find something that fits what you're looking for. Number one, you want to look for a machine that has some kind of warranty. Now, it's important, I mean, if this machine is going to be part of your business, it's going to be what helps put money in your pocket. You want to make sure you've got a machine you can stand by. And the Hotronix line of presses definitely does that. The warranties on Hotronix presses are second to none. You also want to make sure you've got a machine that you don't have to worry about cold spots as you use it. And again, the Hotronix kind of takes care of that. There's guaranteed no cold spots with the Hotronix machine, so that's another thing to look for. Other than that, you're going to want to look for some of the other little bells and whistles, things that make your life easier that you might not necessarily think of right off the bat. Stuff like a timer. As funny as it sounds, having a timer on the press is incredibly important. You don't want to be overcooking anything. You don't want to make sure you're not going to be baking your transfers into your shirts. So stuff like a timer is really nice to have. Digital readouts in general is another thing to look for. Digital readouts help you determine what temperature you've got your machine set at, so you don't have any guesswork when you're looking at little dials per se. If you've got a dial thermometer, it's going to be harder to tell what temperature you're working with. So stuff like digital readouts, warranties, and guarantees on the machine, those are the types of things you want to be looking for. If anybody else has anything to add, though.
Great. Anything else that you guys feel is critical when somebody's first shopping for a heat press that you'd like to add on top of what Andy mentioned?
Hey, this is Adam. I think that a lot of important things go into it, but you have to be familiar with what the heat press is going to offer you. You need to know if it's going to be a clamshell or a swing-away design. You also need to know what your production level is going to be. Different production or different shops are going to have different needs. So, like an air swinger would be high production. Something like a clamshell would be the lower production. So it's really good to be familiar with what your business is and what your the plans are to expand moving forward, to make sure that you're not behind technology or behind your business anyway within a few months.
Great. Yeah, I think that, of course, accurate time, temperature, and pressure, those are critical things that you can't pass up. But once you nail down those with a good manufacturer such as Stahl's, then you look at ease of use, and you also look at versatility. Is this press, your business can only go as far as your heat press takes it, as far as items you can accommodate. So think of walking into a school and what items can you present that you can decorate with your heat press? Is it just T-shirts and sweatshirts and basic wearables, or can your heat press accommodate things like can koozies or even sneakers or bags, because you can split them open and thread them on? So versatility is key. As a follow-up to that, Michelle is looking at purchasing a cat press that can apply all types of media. Do you have any suggestions? I have not used this type of machine before. Anybody want to jump in on cat presses? Juliet, you have it up there on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, cat press, it's a heat press with a tubular heating element, so primarily it'll heat apply caps nicely because they're rounded like that. It comes, you can get different size of interchangeable platens. Primarily, you can heat apply any kind of digital transfer or regular Cadcut transfer or any transfer, paper transfer, anything, as long as it fits within underneath the heating element. So you can use a cat press not only for like left chest logos, anything smaller, scarves, things like that as well. But primarily, what kind of transfer do you want to use on hats? It really just depends on what the hat's made out of. Primarily, it's going to be like polyester or cotton hat, and all products will heat apply to that.
Okay, good. I'm going to hijack a line from Pat, actually, who's on with us today. And instead of a cat press in the Great Garment Graphics seminars, we used to call it a CAP press, and it stood for can apply practically anything. So you need to look beyond the fact that you can only do caps with a cat press because it's called that. It's you can do all types of bags, all types of different items, just by utilizing that small press area and that curved mandrel on the platen, and it's very critical.
Yeah, one thing I've seen people use it here at Transfer Express is doing sleeve designs, where it's trickier putting all the perfect pad and all that in there with on a strip press. That if you just got a small little sleeve, you can do the sleeve and lay it on the cap press as well.
Excellent.
I've used it on fleece blankets too, like because it's so small. Like if you have like a small area on fleece, you'll know if you press it, it's going to press everything nice, like flat, and it hardly ever comes out without washing or scrubbing it out. So this way you can have a smaller area that actually the press is coming down on, so you don't have to flatten all of the fleece.
Good, that's a great tip. And Michelle asked as a follow-up question, which platens would you suggest to purchase with it? And I have a lot of experience with the different platens. There is the standard one that comes on is like 3.5 by 5 or 3 by 5.5, and then there's one that's a low-profile platen that I definitely recommend, which is really good for visors or low-profile caps. And then there's another one which is a 4 by 8 that's good for trucker caps, the really high crown caps. But it's really important to get yourself a good variety of attachments for the cap press, because what happens if you're using the wrong attachment, it becomes really difficult to get a flat, even pressure on the front of the cap. It's almost like it's up above the platen and there's no way to get it flat, which sometimes puts a crease in it. Also, you can create a kind of like a heat press mark across the top of the bill if you don't have the right platen, where you get a permanent crease in the cap from the heat and the pressure. So it's really important to make sure you have interchangeable platens for accommodating different types of caps to where it fits best. Also, sticking with the platen theme, I'll go just to the panel. Anybody wants to jump in on this one? Tim bought a Fusion and got additional platens with the 16 by 20 platen came with a cover. I don't believe you sell covers for the other sizes. Is there a way to make my own platen covers? Any creative suggestions for Tim that you guys can think of? If not, I have one.
Well, the platen covers
Thread a needle?
yeah, they're really just modified to Teflon sheets, so that would really be the best thing to do. If you are good enough with the needle and thread, like Juliet said, then that'd be the best way to go.
Yeah, you can thread a needle, or if you take
I will wait to hear yours, Josh.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, what I would do is I would take my 16 by 20 cover. All the platens are smaller than that, right? So I'd put it on top of it, and then I would just take a rubber band underneath the bottom just to basically grip it in like an ironing board cover, and see if that may work for you. But I think using the same platen cover you already own with a rubber band, a strong rubber band, I think would do the job. Try it out. Let us know. Let's see. Yes, we do offer we won't offer the custom platen covers as of right now for different sizes. We only have the stock 16 by 20, 16 by 16, 15 by 15, and 11 by 15. And Kim asks, how long should a Hotronix heat press clamshell last? Anybody want to jump in there?
The heating element should last forever.
Right.
Yeah. At Transfer Express, every now and then we hear stories about people who've inherited presses from parents or friends that have had them for 10, 15 years. So Hotronix presses last forever in our experience here at Transfer Express, at least. So you've got a machine.
I think we had a contest.
Yeah, we
I
did.
think Stall's ID had a contest a while. Wasn't it like 28 years, and they were still using it in their shop, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. The presses are very durable, especially the new construction now, where it's a laser cut steel framework on the Hotronix clam, so there's minimal welds and minimal points where the press is going to start to wear or break down. So maybe you have to replace a shock or a spring or something, but the press itself with the heating element is going to be, depending on the use, because I don't know the use, but, I'd say a 10-year minimum life. It's warranted for 5 years, so 10 years I think is a good expectation on your investment. But if you want to purchase a backup, I'm sure we can get you free shipping this month just in case.
Yeah.
And so another question, this is an interesting question, and I think everybody will have their own take on it. How do heat transfers fit into retail fashion lines? So take a second and gather your thoughts on that, but how do heat transfers fit into retail fashion lines? Any examples on that, anybody?
I have one a while back. We had a customer created a retail line, but then sold them to Walmart, and they were transfers, but you just didn't know it. So it depends on how you can mass manufacture them. If you have anything else, Andy, sorry to stomp on you.
No, that was actually exactly what I was going to say.
Okay.
Good. Anything to add, Adam?
Yeah, sorry. I think the retail fashion line. I think that a lot of the heat transfers that you're going to fit that are going to fit more into that line are going to be the glitters and the various effects that you can get with heat transfers that may be achievable with the screen print and the other decoration methods, but it can be a heck of a lot more difficult. With the glitters that are available now, and I know, Josh, that you just came out with a different type of foil available as well that can give a different type of look. With all the glitters, the standard Cadcut foils, the other types of foils that are available, there's really a ton of different options. So I would say just maybe get with either Stahl's or Imprintables Warehouse or even Transfer Express and request some samples of some of the more interesting, fashionable materials that are available.
Yeah, I think that one of the things when you talk retail, you can look at mass retail, like a Walmart or a big store like that, or you can just look at retail from putting together your own clothing line from an e-commerce perspective. And I think one of the key benefits of heat transfer technology in general for retail is that what's the biggest problem with retail? You commit your inventory to all these screen printed garments. So you constantly, when you walk into a retail store, you look for what's on sale or what's on the clearance rack. And with heat transfers, you don't have to commit your inventory. Basically, imagine being able to set up all of these different color options with T-shirts, all these different size options. And basically, when the order rolls through your e-commerce site, you decorate it on demand. You just have a transfer stock for your retail designs. Order 48 pieces of transfers, and then just commit it to the size and color of garment when the order comes in. It really is going to reduce your inventory cost. The print cost per garment may be slightly higher, but ultimately you're getting a screen-printed garment by applying a screen-printed heat transfer on it, and you don't have the risk of committing your inventory and having to clear it out if a design doesn't sell or a certain size isn't popular. So I think there's a huge benefit there.
Yeah, another twist on that, we've had a lot of customers from Catholic high school bookstores have started to do that, because when they have to order for the boys wrestling team, they need to know all the exact sizes, all the shirts, and then if 2 or 3 kids back out, those are shirts that are already designed or whatever. This way you order 50 transfers, and if you got a few extras, you have extras, and you don't use them, you can use them next year. So it's definitely, transfer business is definitely an on-demand thing that can definitely save you money in the long run.
Okay, good. And then Angela asked a question, I think on point here, is how do you deal, and I think there's a little bit of an assumption here, how do you deal with the perceived value of transfers being less favorable and durable than screen printing?
I can jump right on that, actually. A lot of times we find customers asking those questions, and the response generally is if you get a sample of the product and you get it into somebody's hands, then the question pretty much answers itself. I mean, the product really stands up to the test of time. It's not the 70s anymore when transfers were pieces of junk that came off of garments. Things have come a long way, and by simply getting samples and perhaps even pressing and washing them yourself, if you want to see the proof positive in your own hands, I mean, you'll see that the product does last. It's a question we get all the time, and we send people samples, and it's people see it. Once you wash it a couple times yourself, you find out, okay, no, things have changed.
Yeah, let me just do.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to add into that real quick. Sometimes it's in a marketing perspective. Just because you're using transfers to create those garments, your end customers don't need to know that. It's screen printed. Don't let them know that it's transferred. They feel the end garment. They don't need to see how you make it. They just need to see what the final product is.
Good. That's a great take on it. And I think that, it's real easy. All you have to do, if you follow our owner, Ted Stahl, that's tedstahl.com, his blog, you're constantly seeing perfect articles that you can reference on how heat transfers are used, for the NFL Combine for Under Armour, how heat transfers are used for the Pro Bowl, how they were used for the NHL All-Star Game. You see countless times, and I can name countless brands that utilize heat transfer technology of all types, whether it's screen-printed transfer or heat-applied film. It's a perfect technology for personalization, and it should never be referred to as a vinyl or an iron-on or something that has a negative stigma associated with it that's, from years past. It's certainly, there's newer technology, and when you're applying it accurately with good time, temperature, and pressure on your heat press, and you buy from a quality supplier, you're going to get great durability, and the product's going to speak for itself.
Well said, Josh. That's exactly right.
Okay, so we have time for a couple more questions, so if you have any last-minute questions, get them in. If I accidentally skipped over yours, we'll make sure we get them back in the blog post and answer the ones we didn't address. But Sharon asks, I'm a newbie at heat pressing. I have a fusion press. When not in use, should it be open or closed? And you want to have it over center, over top of the bottom platen, because that's going to preserve your energy bill and how much electricity you're pulling to keep that heat press heated up. But you don't want to have it closed as in the down position. So hopefully that makes sense. And then I can take this one or somebody else can jump in. Applying foil, can you use any laser printer to create the underlayment for foil? Juliet, do you want to address that or do you want me to take it?
I can address it. It's basically the heat transfer foil. Well, actually, you're the expert on it. You take it. I'll go to the website. Okay,
yeah. Okay. I mean, the answer is, you need to look at the paper you're using, which is the exact print that we talked about earlier in the session. And can your laser printer accommodate the exact print? Basically you need the printer to be able to feed through without jamming and get a clean print. And that's possible with a lot of laser printers, and I think we actually have a list of recommended printers on our website. But the process here, for those of you that don't know, is you print on laser transfer paper, you press it on with this special paper. All it does is leave the print as a base for heat transfer foil. And then you overlay a piece of heat transfer foil that we sell, and you have a beautiful foil print as an alternative to screen printing foil. And if you go to greatgarmentgraphics.com, where you signed up for this webinar, and click on the archive, you'll see a whole session talking about heat printing and 5 ways to print with foil, and it has video and it goes into detail on that. Okay, Adam, here's from Tim. We sometimes hear from clients that they don't want us to use vinyl because the image gets too hot on the shirt, causes the shirt to stick to them. How would you answer that objection?
Well, if you're using an actual vinyl, a PVC-based product, I could see that happening a bit more. But really, the polyurethane-based materials that are out these days, they aren't much different than screen printing. If they're that hot where it's actually sticking to them, then I don't really know of a decoration method that would not cause that. Yeah, I don't think the polyurethane-based materials you'd have that issue with.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the difference between a thicker PVC, which is polyvinyl chloride. That's what I would call vinyl. If you're using heat-applied films, I wouldn't even call them vinyl. I would just call them, polyurethane films or heat-applied films. And with that, they're usually much lighter weight, and you want to check the thickness of them before you use them and just pick something that's maybe a little bit lighter than what you're using now. Okay, and then we're going to, we have time for 2 more questions. So back to the Transfer Express crew. What would be the correct wording, Idette asks, to sell designs applied by transfers? Can we say screen print, or do we tell the customer it's transfers?
Absolutely call it screen print. Sorry to steamroll over you, Georgianne. Absolutely call it screen print, because that's what it is. We're screen printing onto release paper. It's not some mysterious process. It's not something else. I mean, it is screen print. So oftentimes some of our customers will identify them as screen printed transfers, just to help clarify that it might be a transfer, sure, but it's screen printed. But we do have plenty of customers that don't use the word transfer at all to their end user. They use the word screen print because, and again, it's not a lie, it's plastisol-based ink. It is screen print. We are screen printing. That's what we do here. So by all means, absolutely call it screen print. Do you have anything to add there, Georgianne?
No, you got it basically right. That's where it's funny when we have new hires here and they say, oh, Alex, I know we make t-shirts. No, we print the ink on the paper instead of printing the ink on the shirts. So yes, exactly. We're screening printing on paper.
Okay, great. And then for the last question, I'm going to jump back to the opening slide because I forgot to hit on the last one. And Juliet, if you can take this, want to know the standard number sizing for sports. Help us all out as we approach fall sports here.
Okay, well, there are some standard sizes. I apologize, I can't get the PowerPoint. I locked on my computer going on too many websites. But in regards to common sizes for jerseys, there's a lot of just number and letter sizes. So if I just named them all off, it would be just hearing a bunch of numbers and it would all jumble together. Most importantly, I do have some decorating rules that might be more appealing in regards to what we can learn today for number and letter sizes. primarily on baseball jerseys. You're going to find names for youth or adult size anywhere from 2 to 3 inches, front numbers 3 to 4, and back numbers 6 to 8. But the decorating rule is that numbers must be worn on the back. They may be no smaller than 6 inches, and then the leagues decide if the names will be displayed on the back of uniforms. We have something for softball where you have 2-inch to 3-inch names depending if youth or adult, 3 to 4-inch numbers on the front, 6 to 8 on the back. The same rules apply. The numbers must be worn on the back, and they can be no smaller than 6 inches, and then leagues decide if names are on the jerseys. For basketball, I'm just going to do up to football because there's 9 different sports categories. But for basketball, we have names 2 to 3 inches, front numbers 3 to 4 inches, back numbers 6 to 8 inches, shorts 3 to 4 inches. The numbers must be at least 6 inches height on the back and 3 to 4 inches on the front. And league numbers, they have to be like 00, 0 through 5, 10 through 15, 20 through 25, 30 through 35, 40 through 45, and 50 through 55. Did you know that? I did not know that.
If I can interject real quick, I'm sorry. I'm getting
sure.
a myriad of questions rolling in asking if this can be emailed. Where do I find this online? Can this be in the blog post?
Yep.
I know people are probably having a tough time keeping up. Is this content that's available to them out there?
Yes, definitely. So that's where, as you can see, it gets it's just going to all jumble together. So I'm just going to cover pretty much up to basketball because we are making some videos that will actually show you how to apply them, how to space them, like primarily like letters are spaced anywhere from like 2 to 3 inches from the neckline, that kind of thing. Helpful tips to help you apply to all different 9 types of sports. And we're going to have those videos hopefully posted within the next couple weeks, and they will be available on Stalls ID Direct. We'll have some detailed videos that include actual application instructions for certain types of materials that we're using, and then we'll have photo tutorials on greatgarmentgraphics.com.
Okay, great. And then just to conclude, this isn't a question, but I'd like to catch all of you by surprise, and if you can just leave our listeners with maybe one tip that you think is important to their business as they're embarking on the second half of 2011. One tip as it relates to decorating apparel or heat transfers that you can leave them with. And while you're thinking, I'll rattle off mine first. And the tip that I'll give you is be sure to have samples available in your shop or on you when you're making sales calls for customers. Even at the trade shows, we learned that when we stick the garment rack out in front of the booth or we're holding samples in our hands when we're talking to customers, it really connects and they can start to pick up concepts and be inspired to do different types of things in their business. So likewise, just as we show you all these different things you can do with heat applied graphics, order some samples in, order sample packs, prints, just buy 1-yard pieces, and create your own nice little set of samples and keep those with you when you're making sales call. I think you'll really see it pay off as you're trying to land sales and grow them. Anybody else want to give a tip?
I'll go after you, Josh, because I just wanted to go off of your samples. Basically, Stalls IDs, we offer a bid kit where you can get various different CAD prints, digital logos, like 1 or 2 logos, either $25 to $35 kit where you can get 4 different sizes. It includes a 4-inch, 3-inch, 2-inch, and 1-inch, and it's a great tool to have where you can take your customer's logo or your own logo, order the bid kit, get all the different sizes, and heat apply it to a bunch of different kind of items, and you can show your customers and win their business that way in regards to your samples. And then my tip is more geared towards those who are actually cutting in-house. Primarily the question of the day is that we get every day for cutting different types of materials is when you have successful cutting includes a sharp blade, a cutting strip in good condition, and a blade holder that's working correctly. So you only need about a credit card's worth of blade exposed. You always want to make sure the cutting strip, which is that piece of plastic that runs underneath the blade, doesn't have any gashes in it, and that's always smooth. And that your blade holder actually should be replaced every 2 to 5 years depending on how often you cut. There's ball bearings inside there, so if the blade can't turn freely, then it's just kind of dragging on its side, and that's when you'll get the skipping effect, or your corners aren't cutting correct, or you can't manage the detail that you want to cut with. So that's my tip that I share every day.
Wonderful, thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I can jump in here.
Go ahead, Andy. It's all you.
Sorry. The
Okay.
best tip I can give you is be aware of what's available. Be aware of what you have at your fingertips. People are surprised all the time by what we offer at Transfer Express, just in sheer terms of not just plain screen printed transfers, but the glitter transfers, the pearl prints, the glow in the dark that we just came out with. There's so much that's offered. Be aware of all of it. Get out there. Make sure you're getting the promo emails and the marketing stuff like that. Be aware of what you can offer to your customers. Be aware of what we have that you can offer to them. That's the best advice I think you can have, is just know what you're capable of and know what we have out there.
And I'll jump onto that, Andy, as well. For Transfer Express, we offer what's called a Transfer Express marketing kit, which is, it's $49 if you're just getting into transfers. It's a great way to get started. You get 30 sample transfers, all different types inside of it that match our idea book. You get a personalized idea book, and you get a total of 8 different things. You get a $10 off coupon off your first order, and you can use those 30 transfers to make samples to show your customers and let them touch them and feel them, and that's a great way to get started. You get to learn what's in our idea book and know that Transfer Express has 4,000 layouts and 4,000 clip arts to help you make those transfers.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Adam?
Andy, I guess I should have cut you off because you kind of took mine, but I thought of a new one. My tip would be to just make sure you're looking ahead. There's a lot of different trends that come about. Great Garment Graphics does a great job of, and everybody that's on this webinar does a great job of helping you to do that, but just make sure that you know what's coming. The digital market it's definitely in play now, but it is going to continue to grow. If you're not already offering digital transfers, I'd strongly suggest you take a strong look at it and just make sure that, if you don't want to offer them, just make sure that you're not going to be missing out by not doing that.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Adam. Thank you, everybody, for coming on today, and Great Garment Graphics for having us. We had a great turnout, and most of you stuck throughout, so we'll let you get back to your jobs now and appreciate the questions and the comments. Take care.